I've always been fascinated by photography since I was a little kid. My dad was an enthusiastic amateur photographer.
On this episode of the RCN podcast, the CEO of Mosaic, Jeffrey Martin.
Data capture of 360-degree imagery and especially video. That kind of image I thought was amazing, so I kind of took that as far as I could.
That transition of thinking about failure as a learning opportunity.
Design these cameras from scratch. They are our own electronic design, our own mechanical design. In the durability department, we have been good success.
You were in the Guinness World Record.
Do some 3D scanning for VFX studios.
Technology just keeps moving faster.
If you're not ashamed when you launch your product, you launched it too late. I think without the kind and loving support of my wife, it would have been impossible.
Welcome to the Reality Capture Network podcast. Today, we're excited to sit down with Jeffrey here for Mosaic. Jeffrey, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Matthew.
Let's start with, where are you joining us from right now?
I'm in Prague, in the Czech Republic.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear a little bit about your background and journey. I know you've done some fun things throughout your career. Take us back to the beginning. What did you first step into?
Okay, well, I guess my background starts with photography. I've always been fascinated by photography since I was a little kid. My dad was an enthusiastic amateur photographer. He had a SLR camera. So did my grandfather on my mother's side. So I guess I come from a family of people who have enjoyed photography, and it's always been around me. I got my first kind of old-fashioned SLR camera when I was in college. And I took my first photography class it was in between semesters in my college. There was 1 month between the two semesters where you could do some kind of special project somewhere or some kind of workshop. So there was a program at Ghost Ranch in Abiquiu, New Mexico, which is where Georgia O'Keeffe stayed for a while and made some of her famous paintings. And I took a black and white landscape photography course, which included learning how the camera works and developing the negatives and making black and white prints in a darkroom. And after that, I was, I think, almost always with the camera, taking pictures all the time. When digital cameras came out, about 5-6 years after that, it was in the late 90s that I took my first photography course. When digital cameras came out, I got this Canon ELPH. It's about the size of a deck of cards or something, and it had this panorama mode where you could you take one picture and then it superimposes the last one on top of what you're shooting, and then you shoot a few pictures, and then it crudely just kind of sticks them together, and that really blew me away because photographs became this kind of fluid thing that you could merge with other photographs, and that was really fascinating to me. I made those a lot. I was taking kind of, you might have seen David Hockney's kind of, I don't know what you call them, kind of a collage of pictures, very, taken from a different point of view, but of the same thing, and they're kind of crudely merged together. So, my panoramas were sort of like that at first, because I just had a camera and I would stick the pictures together. Eventually, I found some actual proper photo stitching software called RealViz Stitcher. That was in around 2004, and then I found some online forums of people doing this kind of spherical photography using fisheye lenses. And there was some open source software for kind of properly calibrating your lens and then joining the photos together really precisely. I found a couple of these online forums, and a lot of those people are still my very good friends today, basically 20 years later, which is really funny. There are quite a lot of them that I meet, every year or two in some random city at some conference or something like that. I even took part in hosting a conference in Prague for this 360-degree VR photography community. People called it VR photography back in the mid 2000s, so yeah, the whole field of 360-degree photography has been something that I've been always very enthusiastic about. I created a website in 2005 called Prague360.com, and it was a combination of georeferenced 360-degree photos and a map. So there were hotels, clubs, bars, cafes, and so on, with markers, and you could click on the map and it would open a 360 photo. And this was quite a long time ago. This was before Google Maps existed, and there were not very many such things on the web at the time. And that project grew into a kind of more global project, and it became a website called 360cities.net, which is still online today. And it's basically a publishing platform for 360-degree photography, like very high quality. It's a curated collection of very high quality 360-degree images from all over the world, from thousands of different photographers. And it makes money from licensing these images to educational projects, advertising, news, things like that.
That's awesome.
And around 2008, 2009, I became interested in the actual data capture of 360-degree imagery, and especially video, and started tinkering with CCTV camera parts, cobbling together, really crappy 360-degree video camera from, analog CCTV cameras with 576 lines, like really, really low quality. But at the time there wasn't really much out there. Fast forward 10, 15 years, and I'm a co-founder of Mosaic. We're building precision cameras for mapping, infrastructure inspection, and 3D scanning and photogrammetry. Our customers are mainly using our devices for their clients who are municipalities, departments of transportation, telecommunications companies, and we also do some 3D scanning for VFX studios, for films, for special effects, things like that. So
that's awesome.
It has been an interesting journey.
Yeah, definitely. What is it that led to the idea of starting Mosaic? What kind of inspired that change, as opposed to using other hardware, to now kind of getting into the manufacture?
Well, about 8 or 10 years ago, there was a lot of hype around VR, if you remember, and there were a lot of the major camera companies were coming out with 360-degree action cameras. And that whole thing never panned out. I was part of that, and my previous company was building a camera for that, and it was kind of a overhyped use case. It was kind of a solution looking for a problem, maybe. That's how it kind of shook out. It turned out that the general public was not interested in using these devices, which at the time were not really high resolution enough to get like a super nice picture. But we were also kind of adjacent to this mapping use case and industry, where there were very, very few decent solutions for just terrestrial 360-degree imagery for mapping. There was the Ladybug. There was the NC Tech camera, not really anything else. And it seemed like a really underserved market that is only growing. Every town, every department of transportation in the world has to take care of their roads.
Yep.
And, some people are still walking around clipboards. Some organizations are using the most high-tech stuff, and there's a lot of organizations in between. But no one's deciding to use clipboards. Everyone's trying to automate it somehow.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what is it when you look at the cameras that are on the market today and what you guys are developing? What is it that you're focused on? What is it that sets your cameras apart or makes them different, when someone's out there browsing the camera market?
So I think usability, durability, precision, and connectivity. So I'll go through these one by one. So we try to make our cameras really easy to use and as idiot-proof as possible. So it's the connectors are easy to connect. The web UI is pretty easy to understand. There aren't too many ways you can go wrong. And it generally takes, we've been told by our customers, less than an hour for someone to be trained so that they're, comfortable using the device. Then durability. So we've designed these cameras from scratch. They are our own electronic design, our own mechanical design, and we've designed it very carefully to be able to withstand rough usage. And having a camera on a car on a bumpy road for 8 hours a day is a completely different use case than what like the Insta360 Pro is designed for, which is it's more of a cinematic VR camera made to be put on a tripod, and for that it works really well. But if it's on top of a car, something might break, the connectors might come disconnected. The lenses are very, very vulnerable, and so on. So, we were trying to build the best tool for the job in terms of the, physical durability. And again, we have customers in many countries with, roads that are not so smooth, such as, I don't want to knock anyone's roads, but,
Sure.
India, Jordan, Colombia, places that are hot and humid, Philippines. And we do not have customers who send our cameras back because they stopped working or because they're overheating. Not at all. So in the durability department, I think we have been a good success. The third thing is accuracy. So we, of course, our devices are cameras, but they also have to be positioned correctly in space, in the world. And just, sticking a GPS device and sticking some $20 antenna on the car will not give you the best results. And in that case, you'll have an accuracy of maybe a few meters, 2 meters in the very best case. So we have our own solution, and we have a couple of third-party integrations which allow centimeter level accuracy of the camera position, which obviously when people are mapping, they want their map to be as accurate as possible. And then a little bit related to that is the connectivity. So we have taken a lot of time and resources to integrate our device with other devices on the market. So we have integrated our camera with Regal, who are, as you know, among the very best LiDAR laser scanners in the world, with MLID, the GNSS device, with the fixed position XVN, which is another positioning device. And we have customers who are using Trimble and Leica hexagon devices, to which we're also able to connect our device. Connecting these devices together requires a very tight synchronization of the timestamps to make sure that the timestamps from the photos and from the GNSS are as accurate as possible, so that the images can be merged with the point clouds. So any slack there and the results are bad. And working with somebody like Regal, who are definitely very demanding and definitely demand some extreme levels of precision, I would say that we've done a decent job with that as well.
That's great. And for those who maybe don't know some of that process but would be interested, what is the process of integrating your guys' camera with a sensor like that? Are you taking and doing the process of colorization of data, using your images and their data, or are your images going into their software to colorize, or what does that workflow look like?
So in the case of Regal, they are integrating our complete device into their workflow in the car. So they have their app in the car for controlling their device, and via our REST API in the camera, they're able to connect to the camera and to have all the monitoring, configuration, and commands and so on. Additionally, the actual timestamps of the images have to be correct to within some number of microseconds. And also they want to be able to trigger the camera at a specific time. So our auxiliary port accepts trigger pulses from an external device in order to get an image when that device wants it. And we can have triggers going the other way as well. Our camera can trigger another device, even another camera, for example, if you wanted to connect it somehow via our RS-232 port.
You started in photography more as a hobby early on, and now it's your full-on focus for business. Have you kept the same love of photography, or has switching from hobby to it being your work? Have you lost anything there, or how do you feel about the focus?
Yeah, it kind of cuts both ways for sure. But I have remained an enthusiastic photographer. These days I'm mainly making like family photos and stuff, but occasionally I'll make a 360 photo with my phone or with my little Ricoh Theta Z1 camera, or record something with my GoPro. I also occasionally still make gigapixel images using SLR camera and a very, very long lens, and combine a few thousand images into a gigantic picture.
Yeah, I did hear about some of those. I'd love for you to share a story of one of your favorite times doing that. I know you were even in the Guinness Book of World Record for some of your work. Like, tell us a story on that piece.
Sure. So yeah, this was part of my journey about discovering how you can just connect photos together, somewhat seamlessly. So rather than making a 360-degree photo with 6 images, like you do with a wide-angle camera, you can use like a really, really long lens and take a grid of 10 by 10, or a mosaic, if you will, just a tight grid of mini photos zoomed in all the way, and then you get this ridiculously huge picture, and that really struck me as fascinating, because you can even make an image that's much, much higher resolution than what you can see with your eyes from a certain viewpoint, of course, since you're zooming in all the way and making so many photos. So having that kind of image I thought was amazing. So I kind of took that as far as I could, got access to the Prague TV tower, and spent a few hours doing it. That was, I guess, some kind of world record. It wasn't official, but then we were contacted by British Telecom, who at the time the Olympics were in London or in the UK, and they wanted to do some big crazy promotion. So they wanted to see if we could make a new world record. And these kind of world record gigapixel images, they were sort of climbing up, year by year, to something bigger and bigger. So yes, they commissioned us to make a definitive world record, and they kind of took care of a lot of the PR and stuff. So they contacted Guinness and like the BBC. They got some BBC TV show to cover this process, and I was on the BBC One show, which is, I guess, kind of a big deal in the UK. It's very popular. I don't live there, so I didn't fully appreciate what a big deal it was, but it was definitely quite a hoot. doing this kind of publicity tour for this huge picture, which turned out to be 320 gigapixels. It was made from 52,640 images.
Wow.
That were shot from 4 separate viewpoints on the top of BT Tower over the course of 3 days, although the data set that we stitched together was shot over 90 minutes.
Wow.
The cameras were mounted on these robots that moved very quickly and, scanned, line by line, shooting images. So
That's very cool.
And then I did that in a few other cities as well. And you can see all the stuff on my personal website. They're all there.
Awesome. That's pretty fun. It is cool seeing the growth from someone's personal interest in diving into photography continue to just build, and that be really what led to where you guys are today as a company, taking something like that you enjoy and finding a problem that exists maybe in an industry or in a market and trying to solve some of those problems. I would love to hear, just as a founder and someone building a company, just advice for some of those that are out there that are maybe trying to do a similar journey. That's something that seems pretty daunting, right? To undertake, this imagining of, hey, we're going to build our own cameras and so many things that go into that. What was some of the beginning journey like, starting the company? Some of the roadblocks maybe that had come up, or how you navigated, your early days in the company.
I think without the kind and loving support of my wife, it would have been impossible. It helps to have somebody around you that kind of helps you believe in yourself sometimes, because it is always a lot of ups and downs. I think overall, like, it's one thing to come up with an idea, a valid idea, but to build it and ship it and make money and have a functioning organization around it is an unbelievable task, and you need the core of the team has to be good and get along well. But no matter what, I think you have to be on the level of being delusional in order to kind of push through when times get tough, and you just have to not quit. And that sounds so cheesy, but like the only I think I read an essay by Paul Graham that Paul Graham used to run Y Combinator, which is this massive startup factory, but he said most startups fail not because of any outside forces or because of competition, but they fall apart. Like the founders either split up or just quit, and that's like the vast majority of the failures is because of that. So you just have to not quit, and not quitting means you might morph into something else. But yeah, it's you just have to keep on going.
Yeah. No, it is. Sometimes it seems like, the advice you get from people starting businesses or growing it seems so simple, but then it's the execution of that that is difficult at times. That transition of thinking about failure not being a failure, right? It's a learning opportunity. I imagine building hardware, there are many times things didn't work. You're in the process of developing prototypes and you're trying to build, and it's like you have to go through so many iterations or changes, and really taking that to the rest of your business of like, you always have to just have forward momentum and not quitting. It sounds simple, but doing it.
And you're right, with hardware, it's especially painful. And if, when you're actually doing that part, like the electrical design and the mechanical design, and you make a mistake and then it's another week or two to do the next thing. And shipping something to a customer is, you can't like just push an update. Like it has to work before you send it, and there's no going back. So yeah, it is especially severe for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we've taken care of that part. At least we've gotten over the, massively risky, painful part of conceiving, prototyping, iterating, and then shipping something that is stable and mature. And now we have a couple of stable, mature products that we know they work. They're not perfect. We're still improving them in certain ways, especially in the actual firmware, of course, like any such complex device.
Yep.
But yeah, we're over that very, very difficult first hurdle, and now we're spending more time with integrations to partner products and kind of branching out in the industry in other ways with these products.
Yeah, that's great. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on where we're at and maybe where we're going, and some of your guys' role in, there's the hype words, right, of digital twins, and there's some of these ideas of metaverse, and there's immersive environments, and there's, digitizing physical spaces. What's some of your vision for the future and some of these technologies, where we're headed with them?
Well, in the geospatial industry, I see what has been happening over the past 10 or 15 years, and the high-end devices are these things that cost $500,000 or more. These very high-end laser scanners made by Leica, Regal, ZNF. These super precision, super expensive devices that are great tools for a lot of the people who are using them, but there are a lot of other people now. There are a lot more people now who want to do stuff that maybe doesn't require this massive investment, and at the expense of a certain level of detail and accuracy, you can get 10 times better data for what you actually need it for using a different kind of system. So what I mean concretely is we're trying to do with our cameras and our sensors and sensor fusion, we're trying to create a certain level of detail in 3D photogrammetry models that previously was only possible using these $500,000, $1 million laser scanners.
Yeah.
And I think as time goes on, it will become more and more apparent that for a lot of this kind of scanning of reality, digital twin stuff, where you might not actually need a objective ground truth of 1 millimeter for 4 million points a second scanning, but you need something that has a level of photographic detail that is much higher than what that laser scanner can do, at the expense of some overall lower accuracy, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And likewise, the video game and film industries, I think, are starting to merge a little bit with this geospatial industry. You have video games that have huge environments that are maybe whole cities or bigger, and you have films that use similarly massive high detail 3D models for either visual effects, green screen stuff, or these virtual production volume studios where you have a 12-foot tall 360-degree LED with actors inside. So all these things are basically kind of these make up this market of people who want to scan reality, and they all need something slightly different, but it's all coming down to getting, a high fidelity photographic, realistic 3D model.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got like the things that come out of that that are interesting, like research stuff like nerfs and Gaussian splats. And I don't know where those are going. Those are extremely new. They haven't kind of made their way into the market yet for professional uses, but they're extremely promising and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. And it feels like technology just keeps moving faster. Things are changing rapidly, and I love just trying to see what all is out there. And because as different technologies come out that are faster or cheaper or higher quality in one way, maybe lower accuracy in another way, there's so many tools. I always try to encourage people, don't think about what it replaces, but really what it expands as far as capabilities. Not everybody can buy the $1 million mobile mapper, but maybe everyone can buy a 360 camera, or not everyone can buy, there's so many people and so many markets that maybe don't touch most of these advanced technologies we talk about, that as this expands, the use cases expand, the markets expand. So it is an exciting time, because I think that we have so many industries that have hardly touched these tools. That's why I believe that all of them, everything that falls within reality capture, from cameras and LiDAR and drones, and I think there's so much growth ahead still.
There is,
and it's a very interesting time to be involved with the technologies, for sure.
Yeah, it is. We didn't even get into like all the construction and industrial inspection stuff and all the indoor scanning. Yeah, those are also, I think, growing very, very quickly.
The majority of your guys' focus, is it outdoor and mobile mapping type, or do you focus on indoor facilities or anything? What's the main focuses for you, industry or project type at the moment?
So Mosaic started with terrestrial exterior mapping, and our first two products, the Mosaic 51 and the Mosaic X, are designed to be mounted on top of a car. But our new product, the Mosaic Explorer, is a backpack profile. So it gives you entirely hands-free usage, and it lets you go inside. You can climb ladders with it. You can ride a bike or be on a scooter or whatever. So we're definitely getting a lot of interest with this device from other kinds of folks who aren't doing mapping on the street. People doing construction, people doing movie stuff, people who want to scan data centers, warehouses, industrial facilities, things like that.
Yeah. Okay, great. So that's more of an area you're exploring more than has historically been your kind of core focus.
Yeah, and as a startup, you definitely want to focus on one thing at a time. So we focused on the geospatial industry, like the surveying type industry, and the kind of new chapter with our backpack Mosaic Explorer device is definitely. We'll definitely have it, available for all the geospatial folks. But we'll be talking a lot more with other types of people as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else roadmap wise, that you see coming in the future down your guys' path? You see where you've come from, what you're working on today. What does some of the future look like, you think, with these tools?
So I think we are, we're constantly experimenting with and integrating other types of sensors as our customers kind of request, and we'll definitely be doing more kind of first-party integration of sensors to allow people to have like a more out-of-the-box, easy, convenient experience. And besides cameras, most of our customers are capturing some other kind of data as well. I mean, everyone's capturing GNSS data, and then LiDAR, of course. So being able to provide a bunch of these sensors already integrated and already working and controllable with a single interface is not a small thing, because doing this system integration yourself can be hard. It can be a little bit fragile, and just kind of many points of failure. So having a properly integrated system is I think something that it's maybe our most frequently requested kind of thing. People just want to be able to use all their devices together more easily. So you can expect more of that from us.
That's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Yes, silos between different tools do make it difficult to expand the toolbox, because you want to be able to use the benefits of each, but if they don't work together, that makes it difficult. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that we've been working on quite a lot is the workflow for after you collect your data. Of course, people want that experience to be as easy and convenient as possible. So we are introducing Stitcher that is completely automated and has a perpetual license, so that people can very, very easily stitch the images from the camera into 360-degree images. We're also building a 3D reconstruction tool, which combines the GNSS data with the image data on a map and allows you to select data sets by region, and then to prepare the data for the 3D reconstruction process, which includes removal of certain problematic objects like cars, people, clouds, and to prepare the data set with the correct optical calibration so that the photogrammetry process is as stable and as efficient as possible.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, I appreciate you joining today. It's exciting to hear the journey you've been on and what you guys are working on. I would love to, as we wrap up, I still would love to go back through the advice piece. So you take the journey that you've been on. I love trying to give some of that, final tips and advice to maybe those that are starting out earlier in their career. What's a few key pieces you would leave with them?
Ship it as quickly as you can. And there's the one cliche, like if you're not ashamed when you launch your product, you launched it too late. Like you really need to launch something, and it'll be embarrassing and it won't be completely finished or perfect, but there will be people who there should be people who want to give you money for it anyway. And you should take their money and listen to them, and then iterate. And that's really and I definitely made this mistake a number of times for sure. And you just need customer feedback as soon as you can, even with a half-baked product. You need to be honest about it. You don't want to, say that it's fully baked when it's not. You need to, be realistic with people. And these people, these early adopters, they can be your biggest advocates, your biggest supporters, your biggest fans. If they're willing to pay for your product even when it's not totally 100% cooked, then they're on your side already. So take care of them, and but that's, I would say, the big thing.
That's awesome. No, that's a great one. Well, I appreciate you joining and leaving that with us, and we look forward to continuing to follow you and the Mosaic team as you guys build forward.
Thanks, Matthew. It was great to talk to you.
All right, you as well. Thank you, and thanks you guys for listening. We'll catch you again on the next episode.